Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Artist Well. Today we're doing a tribute to the Irish artist Bridget Flannery, who sadly passed away following a short illness a year ago this month. I was privileged to have interviewed Bridget about 3 years ago, and I was really struck by her warmth, her wit, her charm and enthusiasm. And I said to myself, I am going to pen in a tribute during the anniversary when it comes up, and we're going to rerun that interview again. Now, I have edited the interview so that it lasts just 40 minutes, and that'll give us plenty of time to have a chat after that. If you wish to make comments during the interview, all you have to do is click the chat button and put in your comments, and they'll be added later on. Okay? So sit back and enjoy what was, I think, a wonderful interview and really shows Bridget as the sort of person she was. Good morning, Bridget. How are you?
Good morning, Alan. How are you? And good morning, everybody. And Alan, thank you very much for having me on this. You've really put now me to the pin of my control collar and having to learn how to zoom and film and organize myself. So
listen, I know you're only saying that because whilst you said you're a Zoom virgin, in fact, you're now able to zoom your photograph, your camera in and all sorts of things. Which I didn't think you could do that.
Festival next, yeah.
Very good. So listen, you're down in Carlow, but isn't there a sort of a question as to whether you're actually in Laois?
Oh, we live in Great Cullen, so we straddle Laois and Carlow, which has been really, really handy when you can, when the 5K restrictions were on, because you could go 5K one way. We were able to use this now to our benefit.
Yes.
And and it's great, within 15-minute walk, I'm down to visual. Three quarters of an hour's drive, I'm in Portlaoise to Dunamaze, passing through Stradbelly. Three-quarters of an hour's drive the other way, I'm in Kilkenny, and an hour to Dublin.
Fantastic.
An hour to Wexford, and Tinnahealy Courthouse Gallery as well. It's so.
You're well
straddling two counties is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is indeed.
So you're there, and you're married to Bob, who's a sculptor, I believe.
That's correct. Yeah, and he has the workshop beside me, which we're not going to go into at all. No.
Too dangerous.
It's too dangerous. Yeah, it's too dangerous. And unfortunately for him, and I've put in a lot of bits and pieces just to tidy the place up a bit here. And I promise him that and everybody has to hold me to this promise that I will take all my rubbish out of his workshop. Yeah, I will. Yeah.
For the sake of peace.
For the sake of peace and marital harmony.
Now, I was going to ask you, would Bob pop in, because your studios are next door to each other, and I was going to ask you, would you like to ask him to come in? But he's actually in work. Can you tell us where he's working? It's an interesting place.
He works at the Delta Garden Centre here in Carlow, and it's a really, really beautiful garden centre. It's not a garden centre; it's a series of gardens for people with special needs. So I think there's 21 gardens. No, he'll I'm open to correction there, and he is the artist in residence there. So he works in stone and in glass. And then there's, as I say, there's a whole collection of gardens that were commissioned by very, very well-known people like Mary Reynolds to make specific gardens on themes. So it's a great spot.
But I saw I think it was featured on Nationwide once.
It was, yeah.
The Delta Sensory Garden, I think it's called.
That's correct.
You should look it up if any of you haven't seen it. I mean, it is the most spectacular place, and if you're ever in the area, well worth a visit to that. And you might bump into Bob as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you could. He mooches. He's working there all the time, and his work is there all the time, obviously. Yeah.
And you have 3 children.
We have 3 children who are very far flung now. Our eldest boy Ian and his partner Myraid are in Vancouver in Canada.
Yes.
And our middle boy Hugh is in Sydney in Australia surfing. The wretch. And then our daughter Isabel, she's a nurse in London.
And what was she? Is she the youngest? Did you say?
She's the youngest, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so the eldest was not born in Ireland, I believe.
No, the eldest was born in Boston, 30 years ago.
How did that happen?
How did that happen? Oh, you know, we emigrated.
I'm not prying too much, am I?
No, you're not prying too much at all. No, not at all. Bob and I met each other in 1984. He was a sailor in the naval service at the time.
Yeah.
We had a fantastic courtship because he was away all the time. And then in 87, we emigrated to America with 2 backpacks, I think, and came back in 1991 with 16 pallets of stuff and a baby.
Pallets,
yeah.
Oh my God.
So,
what sort of jobs did you do over there? You weren't involved in art now at this stage, were you?
No, I wasn't. No. I mean, I had left college I left Crawford in 1981 and taught for a few years. I always taught part-time. And then I worked with the Irish Tourist Board for a number of years, a great job. And then we went to America, and there was a snowy afternoon. He needed to buy a pair of work boots. Yes. So we went into this extraordinary shop called Walker's Riding Apparel, which was a country and western shop in downtown Boston. Yes. You know, very, very strange place. And it just played country music all the time. And I was fascinated by the shop. Long, narrow shop with just Stetson hats and beautiful Tony Lama boots. And I said, could I have a job? Could I work here? You know, as you do. And the next thing I was hired.
Really?
And I became the manager.
Fantastic.
Within a year. And it was, listen, you know, if you were a writer, you would, every day there was a story. Every day. So
this was the era of line dancing, wasn't it?
This was the year of line dancing, and so people were coming in to buy, you know, beautiful, beautiful boots made from every skin imaginable. Yeah. The biggest Stetson hats you could ever imagine, you know, really $10-gallon hats.
Sure, yeah.
And those Levi jeans that you had to put on and go in to sit in the bath in a cold bath for 2.5 hours, so that they would fit to your body. And so there was 10 of us who worked there, and including a woman who had been a rodeo star in Texas. Oh. Yeah, but we had great fun, and I'm still very friendly with people. We just had great fun. Yeah. It wasn't like work at all.
And did you do any other sort of jobs in the States while you were there?
I changed completely then, and I became I worked in Brandeis University as a student advisor, telling people what to do with themselves, basically. Yeah, and saying to people, "What? You didn't go to your exams? Yeah, but sure. How can
what are you here for?
Yeah, yeah, and you know, a lot of these very precious children and young adults had never had anybody speak to them in that tone of voice before. So they would do as I told them to do because they were so shocked. Yeah, and that was a really good job. And then our eldest boy, then Ian, he was born there, and I suppose, like all immigrants, I really wanted to come home then and bring the baby up.
So how long were you in the States in total?
I think we were there just over 5 years.
Oh wow, that's a fair amount.
Yeah, we were there just over 5 years, and it was really, really good. It was a really, really good experience. Yes. And I had a lovely workshop. I had the spare room in our apartment, which had the most beautiful yellow maple tree. That in the autumn would turn the whole place absolutely golden. So of course I made yellow paintings.
Yes.
Of course, you know, it was just.
So while you were there, you were always painting, yeah?
Oh yeah. While I was there, I had a show of while I was there, I had a solo show in Triskel Arts Centre in 1990, and I remember Mary Robinson was on her campaign trail, and she came and she visited, and gosh, the excitement of it, you know. But Yeah, I came home for that exhibition then in 1990, and then there was work that I think I sent work to various shows in Ireland, and then I also had work in I showed with two galleries then, two small and very nice, very innovative galleries in Waltham and in Boston.
All right. And have you kept in contact with? Contact with them?
No, unfortunately, they did not. Neither of those galleries survived the recession.
Yes.
And they didn't. I suppose they went on to do different things as well. Which was a pity. But I had a good relationship with them and an ongoing relationship with them for, let's say, up to the recession. Which was good. And yeah.
Okay, so when you came home, how did things unfold at that point with your career?
Came home.
Did you get straight into art, or did you take another job or so?
No. I came home and I had a show of. Yeah, I came home. We came home in 1991, in June of 91, and I had an exhibition in the Rubicon Gallery in I think August of that year. And then I was also showing then with the Vanguard in Macroom, and they moved into Cork, and things built slowly. And I went back teaching. Helen Comerford, the Kilkenny painter, she set up a really, really interesting art course in Kilkenny, where she invited working artists to come in and actually tutor people. Yeah. So the emphasis was on process, and basically how you make your work, how you stop that larder, to, I suppose, to influence your work. And that was, I worked with Helen and that team of artists. Susanna Crampton was there, Alan Coonahan was there, Jean Conroy, lots, and there was a lot of people moving backwards and forwards into that. And that was very exciting. So I did that for a good few years. Yeah. And then more children came along, and there was that balance, I suppose, of teaching, workshopping, rearing a family, and making paint. Yeah, and then at that time, I was also invited to join the Visual Arts Committee of the Eggshire Arts Festival. Yeah. And that was great. That was absolutely great, because the festival was on every June, and we invited so many interesting people like Barbara Ray, Peter Prendergast, so many interesting artists, Paul Schneider from Germany, and it was a great group to work with and to be involved with. And from that group came the impetus and the energy and the driving force to build Visual Arts Centre, the Arts Centre here now. So there's something really nice about being able to walk 15 minutes down the road and go into this amazing space and look at very interesting work, and very different work to my own work in many instances, and to know that you were a little part of it. Just a little bit. It's great, and to see people's enthusiasm.
Before we go, because we've an awful lot to see in your studio, and a lot of very interesting stuff. So I want to spend a fair bit of time on that. But before we do that, could you kind of mark the sort of the highs of your career, the things that really sort of changed your either direction or your enthusiasm or something?
Okay.
Like a residency or something like that?
There's always moments. And I was thinking about this, actually. You said this to me the other day, Alan, and I actually had a sleepless night the other night about this. So thanks for that.
I'm terribly sorry.
You're welcome. But I do remember as a student in the Crawford, and I was a very, very headstrong student, which was seemingly a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But no. Let me go back even further.
Yeah.
When I was 14, we went on a school tour from Cork to Dublin, and I saw this extraordinary painting by Anne Madden, one of her megalith series. And I was talking with an old school friend about this the other night, because she could remember, and she could still can't understand how I was so excited. But I had never seen, like, I didn't come from an artistic family, or but I had never seen a painting that wasn't really about something. And here was this massive, massive painting that was basically about blue. And that was a big moment for me. I mean, I didn't realize it until years later, but that was one of those moments. I suppose, and then, I went on then to study in the Crawford. And when I finished in 1981, I was awarded the Student of the Year award, which I shared with two other artists, Bernice Corcoran and Donal O'Carroll. And, that was great.
Yes.
We got money. We got an exhibition. And
oodles of confidence, I'm sure.
Oodles of confidence, people coming in and talking to you, and suddenly you were an exhibiting artist. And it was really, really great for my parents as well, because it gave a validation, and to my friends also, it gave a validation to, I suppose, decisions that I had made, and which nobody knew what I was doing. Sure, I didn't know what I was doing either, but so that was very important.
Yes.
And then in 1995, you're working, and things happen, and they really, really upend you, in good and in bad ways. And in 1995, I was invited by the Latvian Artists Association to go on a painting symposium. And that really, really changed things for me. I went back out painting in the landscape, which I had small children at the time, so I didn't go out that much, and but I was away. It was a really hot summer, and it introduced me to a very different landscape, and it also introduced me to galleries in northern Germany, and I showed then with two galleries in Germany for a number of years as well. And and just meeting, I suppose, a different just meeting different work. Different work. And that, just being there, inspired work, a whole series of work about being outside, about being in water. And it also freed my working process a lot. I returned back to working in watercolor in a very different way, much looser and much more vibrant way. So there was that. I mean, any time that a gallery, invites you to exhibit is fantastic. So in 1991, I had been exhibiting with the Vanguard in Cork for a number of years. And in 2000, they moved into Cork City, into a really, really beautiful space. And I was the inaugural show there. And we had, it just looked fabulous. It just looked fabulous. And there was great excitement and everything sold. And there was just such a buzz,
Sure.
It was lovely. It really was. Then other really, really good things. I mean, 2 years ago, Sharon Murphy invited me in to take part in an exhibition called Making Art Painting, which was part of a whole series of exhibitions that she was curating on the basis of making art. So she had making art drawing, making art painting, and making art printmaking.
Yes.
And so she invited me, and I showed with Susan Connolly from Belfast, Geraldine O'Neill, and Liz Rackard. So there were 2 figurative painters and 2 abstract painters. And the conversation that went on with all the work was really, really interesting. And it was, in some ways, it was like a little mini retrospective, because she included work from over a whole 10 years of mine in that. Now, I think there was like 8 pieces of work, but it was over a 10-year period. And just that very fine eye that she has was able to put a whole series of work together that actually allowed me to see,
yes,
a progression and a process, and allowed me and gave me the next jumping off point.
Right.
And, and that something like that is really, really important to you.
I can imagine. Now,
yeah.
in between times, when you were 50, you suddenly decided to go to college. Am I allowed to say that?
You can. Well, seeing as I think.
Or would you rather I use the year?
I turned 50 in 2009. We were in the middle of the recession, and the opportunity presented itself. It was something that I had wanted to do, and I had always said that I would do maybe when I was 70, this time where I couldn't even imagine. And so the opportunity presented itself when I turned 50, and everybody thought I was bonkers. They just thought I was insane, that, was I jettisoning being an artist, which of course I wasn't. And it was a great experience. It just rejigged my whole way of thinking. It put a lot of things into context. It put art history into context, in a different context for me. And I set myself a project that I would draw every day for an hour for the whole 4 years. Yeah. So I would do 2 15-minute drawings and then 1 30-minute drawing, which of course then were all torn up and became paintings.
Oh, I see. All right.
Yes. Yeah, which is the process, is the process. Okay. But I mean, just that sense of expanding your learning and going into that those amazing rabbit holes of research, which I will happily go into at any time,
Yeah. And did you do a master's?
I did. I went on then to do, so I did history and English in Carlow College. And that was really, really great. You're sitting there and you're just delighted by, the study of the Gothic novel, town planning in the 18th century, fabulous modules, and Spanish as well. And then I went on then to do, and I wrote my thesis on a painter, Eric Revilius. And then I went on to do a master's, which was about the importance of radio in nation building. And that was really interesting. And that was really, really, really interesting. And so I had a great time foraging through, I suppose, the archives in RTE and listening to really, really strange and bizarre radio broadcasts from the 1930s. And that was the period that I concentrated on.
Yes.
Where people spoke very, very differently to how we speak. They did.
English.
Terribly plummy. And then the Irish version of terribly plummy was extraordinarily rolling R's.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was that time. And then I remember having finished the master's, and I came back, and the day I handed in my thesis, I came back and I just tore the workshop apart and really, really cleaned it and painted all the walls and rubbed my hands and said, right.
Get stuck in. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was really hungry, really, really, really hungry.
So I mean, it sounds almost as if you needed that break and to kind of shift your mindset a wee bit.
Yeah, I possibly did. I possibly did. But what, I just think, like, to make your mind nimble is so important. And I did feel my mind was very, very nimble during that period of time. And it brought me right back into very straightforward drawing as well. Yeah. Like where I would set up a still life session and in the corner, and I would work that, and then sitting in a car in between lectures and drawing the corner of the fields, the corner of the garden in the college, the corner of visual and the pond. Yes. And that kind of very, very intense looking.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, going from very, very strong verbal and being, you know, having to be very precise verbally, and then going into non-verbal thinking.
Yes, yes.
Those were the two things that were going all that time.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah. It was great.
Okay, Bridget, let's have a look around your studio.
This is my workshop wall, or this is my workshop door with my little bees.
Lovely.
Who I feel just bring goodness into the house, into the workshop.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just going to close the door now.
Is that Bob's studio beside you?
Yeah.
The one we're not allowed into.
There's the dreaded door.
Wait, okay. Don't go in. Don't go in.
No, don't go in. And there's the window.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's it. That's about it now. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So this is what I see every morning. You know, I come out of the house and this is what I see, and it's lovely. And there's a deep step here that you can come out of the workshop and sit in it and have the cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So on the wall at the moment there's two pieces that you can see on the wall there. And then on this side, there's this larger painting. Yeah. And these are going to an exhibition in Kenmare that is opening, we now know is going to open in July. And it's a lovely show. It's an inaugural show in the Butter Market in Kenmare.
Yeah.
With there's myself, Paul Hughes and Paddy Lennon. And we're very excited about this show, and lovely space and fantastic, wonderful to be invited as well, you know. So this quick overview, back wall with books and bits.
And good lighting above.
Oh, lovely. It's absolutely gorgeous lighting. There's panels, there's perspex panels.
Yeah.
And you know what's really lovely is when it's raining, there's a lovely sound. It's a really, really nice, very gentle, just very, very nice sound.
Very soothing, yeah.
So, yeah. So, back wall and door with bibs and braces and things to put on that will kind of keep you clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see now. I'll just go to my workshop table.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, like Tim Goulding, I have a yoke of a thing.
You have,
that follows me around and has my paints in it. And
what sort of paints do you use?
Okay, I work in acrylic all the time, Alan.
Okay.
And the happiest day of my life was the day I discovered acrylic paint, because it has no smell, it has no personality, and it has very little tradition behind it.
Right.
So that made me very happy, particularly the fact that it had no smell, because I could actually see and it didn't make my eyes what's the word? Water.
Or sore even, yeah.
Oh yeah, very sore. So I use Brera, wonderful acrylics made by Mayamera, Italian. I use those. They're my preferred paints.
And can you get those locally?
I can get them in Kennedy's in Dublin.
Okay.
But I'm running a bit low on them at the moment. But I've also been using these really, really nice paints by Sennelier. Oh, very, very, very strong pigment, very good pigment in them. And I can get those through either Evans in Dublin or Cork Art Supplies. And then I also use golden acrylics as well. Yeah. So they're the three that I use a lot, and they've very good coverage, good body. So I start off with, just the straightforward, the paint in the tubes or in the pockets, and then I mix them up. Then a bit like Bernie Kiley, I mix them up in tubs, and they stay there, and they. So what I would do, my process would be that I would mix a batch of colour, and I'd have this is what's left over after the tail end of, I suppose, maybe 3 months' work.
Right.
And that's just I mix up large batches of them, and then I put them into smaller amounts, and then add different color to make different tones as I'm working.
Yes.
And I work in very thin layers, so I'm constantly building up the color and sanding it back, building it up, sanding it back. And then I also use these wonderful water pastel sticks.
Oh, right.
And they're like paint sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can make a mark with those and then just work into them. And I take those out a lot when I'm working outside.
And presumably putting cling film over the tubs there keeps it moist.
It does
dry out or prevents it drying out.
Exactly. And it's very simple. You just spritz it, spritz it with water, and then cover it with the cling film. And then they're fine. So those paint sticks, I use those out a lot when I'm drawing outside. And this time last year, I we were still on lockdown. And I walked the river a lot. So I ended up making a series on these fabulous sketchbooks that open out their concertinas. Yeah, they're absolutely wonderful. Hold on. Yep. And so these sketches were made with those water pastels and watercolors. So these open up until they come out like that.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and where'd you get those?
I get them online from a company in Brighton, C White of Brighton.
Okay.
And and they're great. And you can just, you can make a whole book of them. So I called this book my river book.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's lovely. And of course, like you have the other side then as well.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So that was they were so I mean that was my lockdown book. And I'm looking at it again today because new work is marinating. And and there's something scratching around in me that I want to make, so I'm very happy to revisit these. And another book that I made then 2 years ago, which I called the summer book.
Bridget, can I interrupt you there for a second? Josephine Dickinson has asked, can you spell out the name of the supplier in Brighton?
Oh yeah, C White, SEAWHITE, C White, of Brighton.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
And you get them through. I get them through Amazon. I'm not sure how it will work now with Brexit, but and I think they're.
It just cost a little more, I'd say.
Yeah, probably. I think they're about €16 each for that size.
Okay.
Yeah, but sometimes they have special offers that if you buy 3, you get a second one for half price or something like that. So they're well worth it. So this is my I work flat on my table, and I have this table, and then I have 2 other fold up tables that I extend as I need them. And so when I'm working, there's the pots on one table usually, and I use regular house brushes and Aldi's Best brushes, which are great. I'm very rough with brushes. I'm not, I probably don't have great respect for them, so they get a terrible doing. So
you're like Bernadette Kiley then.
Brushes. Oh, listen, I'd say we probably buy out Aldi when they happen, But what I use an awful lot are these scrapers. And so I have squillions of those, and they are treated very well because I use them an awful lot.
Yeah, but they'd last anyway. Yeah.
Pardon?
They'd last anyway.
Oh, I broke 2 of them this morning earlier. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was the nervousness, Alan. It was the nervousness. Yeah. So, like the workshop table, would start off like this. the pots, the notebooks, there'd be sketches. Like I'm looking at these sketches that I made. I did these on the river last week, just looking at the lines of water.
Yes.
And then there's always these little small sketches that I find in the backs of books or in the back of jeans pockets. I seem to be constantly doing this. And color-wise, then I'm just going to go down now quickly here.
Sure.
Color-wise, I would use a lot of stones for my color.
Yeah.
So these ones here now, this came from Nahant Beach in Boston. That's older than Ian Frazier, our son. And these two, and then lovely little piece of sea glass. I think I found that down in Ardmore. And then this stone, I've had this for a long time. It's lovely. It's like a reverse drawing. And you see, so we have like the drawing lines and then the stone lines. And I use that idea of landscape and stones, as like little micro landscapes quite a lot in my own work, but also in my teaching as well. Because it's great. It's great to look. It's great to look at the landscape, in all its ways.
And Bridget, when we get back to normal, will you be doing workshops again?
Yes, I will. Yeah. I run workshops with Artform in Dunmore East, and I also run workshops in drawing and painting in visual as well.
Well, we'll put that up on the YouTube description.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. So there's always boxes of stones around the place, to look at them and to look at them for color, to look at them for texture, and then these ones, which I think I found these back when we could travel, and these are from Wexford, and I'm very intrigued by the shape of them and the color. So they will emerge at some stage.
Yeah.
So
do you ever grind stones?
I do, and I'm going to come around now and I'll show you that.
Okay.
So these are my bits of cheney here, again, for shape. And then I'm quite fascinated by how...
Turn your camera to the right a bit.
Yeah, how you can have a light and a dark, and that horizon line, in a very, very macro way. Yeah. So hold on a second. So that's, and then while I'm painting, there's always a non-painting project going on. So I found this amazing piece of flotsam, which I think is an armchair of a couch, and it's been up now on the workshop wall for about 3 years drying, and I think it's ready to do something with. I think. So this area here in my workshop is usually the kind of sort of, I suppose, the thinking area, or the area that sparks. And on every workshop wall, Alan, is this poem by Raymond Carver, What You Need for Painting. And it lays out a palette, your brushes, but the most important thing, it says, indifference to everything except your canvas, the ability to work like a locomotive, an iron will.
Yes.
And that has kept me steady for many years.
Yeah, and you read that every day.
I do, actually. Yeah, it's
it's a great mantra, right?
It is, yeah, and I find great comfort in it. At the times when work isn't going well for whatever reason. So, workshop, bookshelf with just things that I like to read, my music that I like to listen to, but I don't work with music.
Yeah, we discussed that, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I must say, I find the same. I find it distracting almost. Even though I love the idea of having music in the background when I'm working, it just doesn't seem to work for me.
No,
it works for other people.
You can't, because you can't listen. Yeah. So, and books that I go back to, this was a fantastic, you were asking about pivotal points, but that book, Unquiet Landscape by Christopher Neve, was just an amazing book. It came out in 1991 and it was reissued recently. Absolutely just wonderful book about looking at landscape, looking at painting, making landscapes.
Yes.
As well. Okay, so that's there. Let's see now what's here. Oh yeah, children playing on the strand. Husband and daughter going bonkers on some sort of a hurdy-gurdy ride.
Yes.
Notebooks, sketchbooks, shoe boxes that say mad things like small pieces of timber.
Yeah.
I think that's the day I turned into my father. Yeah, so that's
wonderful.
that.
Wonderful.
And then this wall then here, of course, this then is another non-painting project that I have, that I'm working on for a long time, about picking up trawler trash.
Yes.
And doing something with them. So I've been making these for quite a while, and they're great fun to make. And they're very different to
beautiful colors.
They are beautiful. Yeah. And then there's a table here then that has lots more stones. And I grind these. So this is a very, very nice sandstone, very soft sandstone. Not a sandstone, sorry. It's a shale from a Wexford beach. What's the name of it? Sandeel Bay in Wexford. And really, it makes a beautiful colour. So a beautiful, beautiful soft grey. Some more, these are from, I think these are from Waterford. Yeah, more shales. Beautiful, wonderful, wonderful sandstones from Ballyquin in County Waterford, the place where I spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I grind those using a regular little rasp, kitchen rasp. Yeah. Mix them with gum arabic or an acrylic medium, and just get really, really nice colours for being yeah, and I love that, being outside and making just working with the colours that you have there. And last year was great because everybody was having barbecues, and so loads and loads of burnt charcoal on the strands.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the work, really. That's the workshop.
It's very industrious looking, I must say.
Alan, thank you very much, but also thank you to everybody, and thank you so much for your very kind comments, and be wild.
So I suppose you get a sense of the infectious nature of her enthusiasm and her sense of humor as well in that. So I hope you enjoy that. I'm going to see if I can look at some of the comments that have been made. Pauline Flynn says, lovely to hear Bridget's voice again. Mike, absolutely, Pauline. Oh, that's, yes, absolutely. Ursula McAuliffe, can still see all of Bridget's stones from Caliso Bay in Ardmore. Tim Goulding says, author of poem, What You Need for Painting. Okay. Oh, yes, right. That's the author. Yeah. Oh, no, question mark. I'll get back to you on that, Tim. I don't know. Raymond Carver, says Mike. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Tim. Margie done a huge loss. Eilish, what a lovely life Bridget had. Thanks for this, Kathleen. Okay, so is there anybody who'd like to make a comment? And maybe Bob, if we could actually go to you first. Bob, thank you very much for your blessing in us showing that, and for your family. I think it was a lovely tribute to her. And
it was, yeah, it was, yeah.
And interestingly, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was down at an exhibition in St. Peter's in Cork, and Angie was telling me about a concert that was held there a week or so before that, where the composer did a particular piece that was dedicated to Bridget. Can you tell us a wee bit about that, Bob?
Yeah, that would have been Benjamin Doors. It was part of it was Classical Music Festival that was on in St. Peter's. Went on about a month ago, I think. And he dedicated a movement that was part of a suite of gallo music. It was played in St. Peter's Church. But it's been an interesting year, and it's great how people like yourself. Yeah.
No, I know. It's very, very difficult when all this comes on together. And as you and I said earlier at the start of this, and the two of us will probably learn an awful lot from other people and what they've had to say. So maybe we'll do that and then come back to you, Bob, in a while, because I do want to talk to you about the gardens. And just for the benefit of those watching, Bob and I are going to be doing a special tour of the Delta Sensory Gardens in Carlow, hopefully in May. I think that's sort of when we've penned it in, for the reason that all the flowers and so on will be in full bloom then. And that's going to be a lovely, lovely piece. And I'm really looking forward to that. I know Bob is as well. So is there anybody else who'd like? Sorry, Bob.
Yeah. I think about it right now. It's been an interesting year. Well, last year there was 4 exhibitions last year that Bridget was involved in.
Yeah.
There was the National Gallery. So you had Anne Hodge was involved there, and she's going to be opening a show in Westport this August. So that's 225, 202. Yes. With Andrew Shanahan, who you're going to have on in a minute.
That's right.
There's Jackie Carter, who was involved with 2 shows, one in Florence just at Christmas and one in Roscrea. There was another, Mick O'Dea and Una Ford were in Ballinglen. It is Una Ford, isn't it? And then what else is on this year? Oh yeah, we had Mary O'Donnell had a lovely poem called An Exhibition that was published in the Irish Times last summer. It's kind of loosely based on the Sound and Gallery, an exhibition. Okay. And then there's more stuff mentioned in the pipeline. There's an exhibition, a solo exhibition of Bridget's work in Blanchardstown, Hundred. That's been organised by Sharon Murphy and Emer McGowan. You heard Sharon Murphy mentioned there a few minutes ago by Bridget.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, and obviously, of course, I want to thank Tara Murphy. She offered me an exhibition in the Solomon, but I wasn't ready for it. We have Emma Lucy and Claire Brain in visual in Carlow. They're trying to organise something for her as well.
When is that likely to be, Bob? Do you know?
That'll be in the new year, I'd say.
Okay.
I think we have enough going on this year.
Yes, indeed.
But it's just great that people haven't forgotten her, like yourself.
Yeah, isn't it wonderful? It's the one thing I remember. The chap was at one of my workshops, and he was a civil servant, retired, and he said, you know something? He said, after all that work and all the people, I've about hundreds of people under me, and he said, I've absolutely nothing to show for it. And us artists have a lovely legacy in that our work will live on, and it's in countries all over the world, like I know Bridget's work is, and it's just a wonderful legacy, isn't it?
Yeah. You saying you were saying that how many was it? 1,400 views this video has, or something?
1,400 people have watched it.
Yeah.
And which is a phenomenal number by Irish standards, you know.
And you were saying this is ongoing 5 years now. This started in COVID.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And people are still watching it. You know, every week there's yet another person watching Bridget's episode.
No, but I mean, it's an archive. It's everybody's work. It's a treasure trove. You get. I started looking at a lovely one the other day. There, a botanical artist. She works in the Kew Gardens. Who was that again?
That was Deborah Lampkin.
That's it. Yeah. Like, you know, and there's loads of. They're like doorways into people's lives. They're a lovely thing to see. I'm sure
delighted to have the opportunity to add you to that now as well.
Oh yeah, look forward
when we come down to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I also wanted to thank all the crowd in Ballyquin, Ardmore, and that crowd. Yeah.
Great. Very good. Okay, Bob. We'll come back to you later on. That was Angie. I know you're there. Would you like to say anything?
Yes, thanks, Alan, and
Hi there.
hi, Bob. Hi, Bob. I just in reference to what Bob was saying about it being a treasure trove, which it is, and well done, Alan. But sorry, feel a little. But she's just to be able to enter back into Bridget's studio with you and everybody here who's watching this, being just fantastic, because she was such a, as you said, full of warmth, generosity. She was an amazing spirit in terms of her generous nature.
Yes.
And I really found that. I mean, like, Bridget would have been just a year ahead of me. She was in our college. She finished a year ahead of me, but she mentioned there Donald O'Carlin and Bernice Corcoran, who were the students of the year with Bridget. And as it turns out, Donald is my first cousin. So, you know, in our college then, it was like, because we were small kind of groups coming out, finishing, we were like a family, you know. I mean, we were just, and we kept up the contact all the way, and we had, Bridget and myself had mutual friends, Bill Flynn and Mary Mackey as well, who we all kept in touch, and you know, lost a little bit of touch during the years when Bridget was kind of busy with family and everything else like that. But it was just like serendipity that we managed to get together again and have this drawing show that both of us were involved, well, drawing project really, which was what we were doing during lockdown, and both of us were walking. Bridget was swimming in the river, and I was walking around the River Lee in the city when I couldn't get into the studio, which was my the Backwater Artists Group studio at the time. So I suppose we both work in different ways. Bridget's working, you know, I'm a realist, Bridget's abstract expressionist, but our kind of love of the element of water was the kind of sort of unifying kind of theme for us. And
yes.
But we just had so much, as I said, like her fun, her generosity of spirit, everything. Like when we were working on that project, and it was all about drawing. So it was drawing works on paper in this little project space in the backwater. And that's when, luckily for us, Anne Hodge came down to view it. Anne Hodge, curator of prints and drawings in the National Gallery.
Yeah.
And that little drawing project led to that, you know, the two of us being involved in the National Gallery, you know, which was, and then subsequently now with the show that will go on to, so it all came out of that drawing project, which was the element of water, which was our unifying theme, you know. But I remember one day Bridget kind of said to me, she said, will we go on a skite, which was one of her favorite words. Will we go on we got up to the source of the Lee. And so we went off down to Gulgong Barra. But I mean, we laughed all the way there and all the way back, because Bridget was such an amazing storyteller as well. Every kind of little small thing was turned into an amazing story. She was just absolutely fabulous, really.
Fantastic. And you're right, she had these wonderful phrases. She used to sign off her emails just saying, "Be wild," as she said there at the very end, which I used to love. And mooching and a bit of a skite, as you said, as well. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Thanks so much for that, Angie. Is there anybody else who'd like to say anything?
Hey, Alan, Tim here.
Hello, Tim. How are you?
Yeah, I could go on and on about Bridget.
Do go on.
Well,
I'll cut you off when I have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so wonderful just to see her again. And you know that what came across to me is, as long as we live, Bridget lives. Bridget lives with us, you know, because for me, she was a huge inspiration and she encouraged me in my work, and she advised me as well. So on that side, she was a great support. And I always loved her work from the word go. Now, as you may know, I was a founder member of Aestorna, and all my years of Aestorna, I only ever recommended one person. I put her forward, and very, very incorrectly, and unfortunately, she wasn't taken in, but she's the only person I ever tried to get in. And her and Bob were at our wedding nearly 20 years ago. And in between, you know, we were always in touch and sending messages and things. At the end of her message, she always said, "Be wild" or "be daft." And I always loved that. So, yeah, it's a horrible loss to us. But, you know, she really inspired me a lot with the way she took from nature. and even the way she worked. So I even learnt a lot from looking at that today. Different ways she applied paint. So I don't know. I could go on and on, but a terrible loss to us. But I just think of positivity and lightness and fun and beauty. And we have 6 of her paintings at home here, 2 of which she gave us.
Yes.
So we treasure them. And I feel really, really sad for Bob and the children. I still haven't written to Bob because I couldn't find the words to say it to him, but I will.
Yeah.
And God bless him. And thanks for doing this. It's a wonderful tribute.
Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, I'll just read a few comments before we go on to anybody else in person. Peggy McNulty says, "What a beautiful, enlightening interview. Thanks a mil." Carol, "Bridget was an inspiring, wonderful human being." Tim says she danced her way through art. And it says Alan Keane, but it's actually Trina. Bridget's words were paint strokes also. "I remember when Bridget joined me for a Tuesday night club when we had Celeste Ray, professor of anthropology at Sewanee University in America, who spoke about her recent book on the Holy Wells of Ireland. Bridget shared her story of her mother and aunts coming together on a Sunday afternoon to take water from the Holy Well after Mass. She recounted how everyone would lie in the grass after drinking the water, and the conversations were sweet and mellow. A wonderful sense of being at peace together. They discovered that the well had lithium traces in it, and it was for those with nervous dispositions. She told it so well, with beautiful expression, and brought the experience to life, moving it from the purely scientific and bringing the Holy Well tradition to life." What a lovely, lovely thing. Thank you so much for that, Trina. And I remember that well, and Bridget coming on and talking about it. And in fact, she gave us a present of this wonderful gift here. It's a box, right? But in fact, it's a holy well. And if you open up the box and look inside, you can actually see the water and a salmon in gold. A beautiful, beautiful piece, which we treasure here at home. So thank you for that, and thank you, Bridget. But Ursula, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just briefly. Hi to everybody. I'm not involved in the arts, but we were neighbours of Bridget and Bob in Ardmore. And I suppose I'm just remembering those fantastic memories that we had. She always spoke about her adventures when she was travelling and that, and she regaled us with many stories. And I suppose our main memories, the chats and fun that we had. And also Bridget was so creative with her hands as well, a fantastic knitter. And we had such wonderful nights. So Alan, thank you for bringing all those stories, because we had heard them from Bridget, but it was lovely just to see them, her tell them again and bring them to life again. So thanks a million for the presentation. Thanks, Bob, for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Ursula. Thank you very much indeed.
Alan,
yeah.
My name is Elaine, and I'm in under Chris O'Brien there on the the laptop. I had technical difficulties here. I'm in Ardmore. I'm in her bolt hole. She used to come here to my house in the valley, run away from everybody. She'd come here. So we used to do an awful lot of mooching in the Lickey Valley, and she used to get a huge amount of inspiration here from the river behind me. Yes. And we did many skites down the West Waterford coast, and robbing of stones or gathering of stones or whatever. So it's just lovely to connect with everybody, because I can hear and see all the people that she spoke about. So I'm one of the Ballyquin mermaids that we have swam all the time with, Bob knows, whatever. But listen, thank you for the opportunity. It's been wonderful.
Thank you very much. Eleanor, is it? Yeah?
Elaine.
Oh, Elaine, I beg your pardon, Elaine. That's great. Elaine, tell me about the mermaids again.
Oh, there were just a gang of mermaids that we meet in Ballyquin.
Yeah.
And we have a ledge there, and we sit on the ledge. It's basically a concrete wall. It's like a solarium in the mornings. But Bridget would have laid out a huge amount of her work with myself during COVID quietly. Yes. You know, she would have had to make gallivants from Carlow up this neck of the woods. At one point, she got stopped by the guard, and the guard asked where was she going, and she told him very brazenly that she was going to her gynecologist, and that was the end of the story. You know?
Oh, listen.
So we've gathered
Only
lots
Bridget.
of trailer trash and everything along the coast there. So it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much. Thank you, Bob. I know Isabel and Hugh and Ian are in there somewhere as well. So thank you.
Thanks a million for that. That's great. Okay, anybody else like to add to that? Kathleen, I see you're unmuted. If you want to say anything. No.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was unmuted.
Don't worry. No,
So,
did you want to say anything?
well, I'm not in the art world either.
That's okay.
I met Bridget about 42 years ago, and we just stayed friends this whole time. I'm in Boston.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. I just miss her.
Kathleen, that's very kind of you. And thank you. Thank you.
I have some artwork here of hers.
Oh, show us. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Great.
It's dark out here in Boston, but so I have this on the mantle.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
And then in the kitchen, I have another right here.
Ah, yes. Unmistakably, Bridget.
Yeah. And then this is on the fridge.
Great.
So she was just a family friend, and I just love her still.
Kathleen, so much for that. Thank you so much. And you're great to get up bright and early to join us. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for doing this.
Not at all.
I'll always love her.
Thanks. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. Okay, anybody else like to say anything? Just see if there's any more comments. Can I speak? Yes, please speak. Tim.
Yeah, I just thought I might tell a little naughty story.
Oh, please.
And this is years ago, and it involves our dear friend who passed away as well, who was a great friend of Bridget's, and that was the framer, Con Kelleher. Con was a wonderful friend of ours. And
Tim, could you start that again, please? Because you were frozen there for a second.
Okay. Yeah. This involves our late friend, Con Kelleher, who passed away too soon as well.
Yes.
A framer, photographer, painter, musician. Anyway, Bridget used to go to him regularly, as we did. And when she was living in Carlow, and Con was a very moody sort of creature. So you wouldn't know how to approach him sometimes. He could be very dismissive, or he could be very welcoming. And that was just the way he was, and we loved him. And so anyway, she was coming down from Carlow, and with the work to be framed. And I think the last time he'd been a little bit awkward. So she decided she would try and promote him. But he loved to smoke a bit of ganja every now and then. So she managed to secure a bit up in Carlow, and she came down with some ganja in the car for Con to butter him up a bit. And she came down with two of her children in the car, and she had this marijuana in the front with her. And just outside Macroom, where he lived, the guards stopped her, and she absolutely froze. I mean, she didn't use marijuana herself. And there she was in the car with two children and a big bag of marijuana. And she got away with it anyway. But she said she had to go for a brandy before she went to see Con. Yeah. Yeah. We always used to laugh about that, yeah.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah.
For once, she was stuck for words.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Wilma says, thank you for this inspiring morning. I didn't know Bridget, but I found it very inspiring. Thank you for doing this, Alan. Yeah, I mean, you know, there will be a lot of people watching this who don't know Bridget or didn't know Bridget. And I can tell you, they'll know her after this. Because, anyway, right. Anybody else like to say a word before we finish?
I was just, what I was actually, so can you hear me all right?
We can, yeah.
Good, yeah. What I was very impressed with the trawler trash. I thought that those drift nets have a huge impact on natural environment in Australia.
Yes.
And they're capturing, sea creatures that are, sort of almost extinct, dugongs and those kind of creatures. And I thought it's so relevant. It doesn't matter where you are. Those drift nets are just absolute. They're dreadful things, And it's a little bit like the salmon farming that also pollutes our waterways. And you sort of think it happens everywhere. It's not just in Tasmania, in Australia. It's in Norway, it's in Scotland. I'm sure it's in Ireland as well. And I thought that those were very playful works, but they had an awful lot of meaning deep down inside them. I love that.
Absolutely, and I love the phrase too. Troller trash. It's great, isn't it?
Very good.
I'm sure she invented that. I've never heard it before. Now, Hugh is saying that Hugh Fraser that he's unable to.
Oh, yeah.
There you are.
Can you hear me? Or
yes, I can. Hugh, how are you?
I'm good. You'll probably see him standing. It's just so I can gather myself a little bit, I think. But
no problem.
But I just want to say thank you. Jesus, I didn't expect it to read.
No, don't worry. Hugh, don't worry. You're fine.
Yeah.
Hugh says that for some reason, I just wanted to thank you for putting this on. Emotional but lovely.
Yeah, but it was absolutely lovely just hearing her voice as well, and the cadence and like certain words like Belfast and make up and stuff. But hearing everybody's stories about it, and Nick here down in Sydney, where she was extremely inspired after coming back from Australia as well, and that gave her a lot of life and inspired her loads to work again. So that was a major part of her artistic revival and everything. But no, it's been lovely hearing the stories.
Yeah, that's great. I'm delighted you enjoyed it, and I'm delighted that we were able to do it because it is something that it's important that you guys as family see how much she was loved by an art world, many of whom you would not know or wouldn't have come across.
Yeah, and it says, I think what Tim was saying, and you were saying as well, where her work lives on and she gets to live on as a result.
Absolutely, Hugh. Absolutely. Were you aware that your mother carried drugs?
I wasn't. I'm learning that. She used to refer to it as dope, but I'm learning all about her. Yeah, she wasn't so innocent anyway.
There you are now. There you are. That's great. Listen, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Storm says, Rosemary and Storm greatly appreciated and really enjoyed the workshops Bridget conducted in Haywood Gardens and Stradbally. We feel so lucky to have known her. Thank you for that, Storm. Oh, yes, that's to say. Oh, no. Mike, I miss our coffee chats with Bridget in Bridget and Bob's house. With Bridget, everything was up for discussion. Nothing was off topic. Art, music, literature, politics, gossip. I miss her a lot. Thank you, Mike. Louise Clark, I would just like to add that Bridget never forgot her student days. I first met her at the Lavitt, which is the Lavitt Gallery, a first-year student gathering at our show. 1.5 hours later, she was still chatting to me. The start of a beautiful friendship. Thank you very much for that, Louise. Kathleen, I think, thank you, Bridget. Hugh, we've spoken to. I think that's everybody. Jackie says she was brave and curious, missed every day. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, on a new message. Carol, a big hug to Hugh. That's nice. Thanks. Bob, would you like to say the last word if you're there and you're happy to do so?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Bob, if we just finish with you, I think that would be appropriate.
Yeah. Well, it's just following on from the video. Just wanted to add some things on. One is the exhibition in Blanchardstown will be called Layers. So Bridget always worked in layers. She was like an archaeologist, and she was always digging and adding on paper and painting over it and then sanding it back. That's how she worked, revealing underneath. But if that program had been done a year later, you would have seen huge amounts of stuff that she brought back from Australia. Lots of pigments that she would have found on the beaches that she then crushed, and she actually drew onto the rocks and stuff. lots of lovely iron ore and stuff like that. Exotic seeds that would have washed in from Fiji and places like that. We did 4 Airbnbs there, and every day you came down to the balcony and the tables would be littered with whatever she found on all the beaches. Lovely stuff.
Yes.
But I don't think she was allowed to bring most of it through the customs. And then I noticed also on the video there, she had a lovely stone with, I think she called it reverse lines or something, was on the stone. And then she showed you 3 drawings on the wall that were river lines, I think.
Yes.
I framed them afterwards there last year, and they went on exhibition in the National Gallery, and they subsequently bought them. And so that's what happened to them. The trawler trash, I think I actually came up with that word.
Oh no, come on.
Yeah, she had a name for them, Marogues or something, she used to call them. Marogue was an Irish word.
An Irish word, yeah.
What does it mean?
No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Marog, M-A-R-O-G, is it, or C? Yeah, some sort of creature. Yeah, I might exhibit them sometime. So I've loads of her work. Her studio is exactly as it's still in that video. It's like a museum.
Yes.
So yeah.
Listen, Bob, thank you so much, and I'm so pleased that you and your family gave us your blessing to do this today, and it was a real pleasure to do. So thank you everybody for watching, and for those who are going to watch on YouTube as well. So we'll see you next week, and thank you all, and thank you very much, Bob. Bye bye now.
Bye.
Thank you.